Have you ever wondered if all the good you do really holds any value? Or, worse yet, have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, the world seems to ignore your good deeds? God sees what you do, even when no one else notices. And did you know that while the world forgets you, He is attentive to every gesture you make? The truth is, many of us live in the shadow of discouragement, thinking our good deeds are too small or insignificant. But today, I'm going to share a secret with you. What you do in secret, God sees openly. You may be tired of fighting, of trying to help and do good without being recognized. But I can assure you, God never forgets. The reward comes in ways you never imagined, with a strength beyond what you can see. In this video, we'll explore how God honors your perseverance, how He rewards what is done with faith and courage, and how He, in His infinite goodness, never lets a kind gesture go unrewarded. If you're wondering if it's worth continuing to fight, you need to watch this. Your hope will be renewed. And more importantly, God never gives up on you, even when you doubt yourself. Stay with me until the end and discover how every small act of kindness not only transforms the world, but also brings you closer to something grand, to something eternal. You are not alone on this journey. God sees everything. It seems obvious, right? But it's something we often forget when we are alone, doing good without anyone looking. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it may even feel like our small acts of kindness get lost in the void, without recognition, without reward. But it's at that very moment, when you think no one is noticing, that He is watching. You know those times when you extend a hand to someone and no one sees. God saw, He knows, and He honors it, even when it seems like the world around you is ignoring it. The biblical message teaches us that it is not what man sees, but what God sees that truly matters. Sometimes discouragement may hit, and you question whether it's worth continuing. The temptation to stop doing good is real, but the truth is, even if no one else notices, He sees every step taken with faith and courage. When life seems to be an unfair scale, where evil seems to be more rewarded, it's hard to keep hope. But it's in those moments that faith becomes a beacon. It's not about being recognized by others, but knowing that God, who sees everything in secret, is watching and rewarding you. He observes the details that the world overlooks, the efforts no one else notices. The key is to understand that even if no one congratulates you, the true reward comes from Him. That's where courage comes in. Courage to do good, to not get discouraged, to keep going when everything seems to be against you. And God, who sees all things, assures you that the reward will come. It may not come tomorrow, but it will come, and it will be greater than you can imagine. Those moments of secret kindness, generosity without applause, are the ones that strengthen the soul. They not only show who you are, but also shape your character in ways invisible to human eyes. You might not notice, but with each act of kindness, your faith solidifies, your hope is renewed, and your connection with God deepens. And that's where the journey gets interesting, because God doesn't just ask us to do good when everyone is watching, but also when no one is looking. Have you ever felt tempted to give up? Ever thought that the good you do isn't worth it? Now, imagine that every act of kindness, even the invisible ones, has a purpose. And this brings us to the next point: how perseverance and faith lead us to something greater. Even in the face of adversity, perseverance is the key. When life challenges us and the rewards seem to never come, it's easy to lose our way. But the Bible is full of examples of people who didn't give up, even when it seemed like everything was against them. Abraham, for instance, is a model of perseverance and faith. He was called by God to a grand promise, a descendant as numerous as the stars in the sky. However, before seeing this promise fulfilled, he went through years of challenges, doubts, and moments of discouragement. But Abraham didn't abandon his faith. Even at 100 years old, he believed, persisted, and saw God's promise come to fruition. Just like Abraham, we are also called to believe in the impossible, to keep our trust in God, even when time seems to drag on and the results are not immediate. Perseverance, as Abraham demonstrated, is the secret to accessing the promises God has for each of us. In difficult times, when discouragement knocks at the door, it is faith that keeps us standing firm. It's not easy to believe when everything around us says the opposite. Life teaches us to be skeptical, but God teaches us to trust. In Hebrews 6 verse 12, the word tells us, "Imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises." This calls us to a life of action, to move forward with courage, knowing that the reward will come at the right time. Just like Joseph, who went through betrayals, imprisonments, and harsh trials, but never lost faith in God's promises, we are also invited to stand firm. God never abandons us. He always sees our actions and never forgets our good deeds. And it is this trust in God's timing that gives us the strength to keep going, even in moments of loneliness and frustration. Of course, it's not easy. We're not saying it's simple. But when we decide to act with faith, even in silence, we can expect great things. Maybe discouragement comes when the days seem endless and doubt creeps in. But remember, the Bible tells us that God is faithful. He does not abandon his own. The reward comes, and sometimes it comes in ways we never imagined. When we keep our trust in God's promises, when we believe that he sees the good we do, even without applause, we are planting seeds for an abundant harvest. And it is this harvest that leads us to the great revelation of hope and confidence that the future is in his hands. Now, faith and trust in God open a path. But for that path to become a reality, we need to be prepared to act and make important decisions. This is the next step in our journey. God's reward is not measured by human applause. Sometimes we may think that our good deeds are too small or that the effort isn't worth it, but God looks with different eyes. Remember the story of the widow who gave her last coin in the temple. Jesus, upon seeing that gesture, said that she had given more than all the rich people there, for she gave from her heart with sacrifice, while the others gave from their abundance. To the world, it didn't seem like much, but to God, that act was immeasurable. When we do good, it doesn't matter the size of the gesture, but the attitude with which we do it. God rewards those who act with faith, humility, and a sincere heart. Sometimes it may even seem like no one notices, but he sees. And this reward is not just material, but a spiritual reward that transforms us from within. Although the world teaches us to seek immediate recognition, God calls us to something deeper, the spiritual reward. The true reward from God comes with inner peace, with the certainty that we are fulfilling his purpose. Galatians 6 verse 9 teaches us, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Every time we choose to do good, even when no one is watching, we are aligning ourselves with God's purpose. And by doing this, we are strengthening our spirituality, creating a solid foundation based on faith. As we grow spiritually, Our ability to act with love and generosity expands, connecting us more deeply with God and with others. This is the kind of reward that cannot be found in worldly recognition, but in the fullness of spirit that God offers us. In the end, the rewards that God gives us are far more valuable than any praise or earthly prize. They are eternal and deep, and this understanding helps us keep our faith alive, even in difficulties. Perhaps you're going through a phase where your good deeds seem to have no return, where discouragement tries to catch you. But remember, in every act of kindness, God is shaping your character and strengthening your faith. The reward will come, and it will be something you never imagined. A reward that may not be visible to the naked eye, but that reflects in your life, in your peace, in your spiritual growth. The path of faith is never in vain, and it's this that prepares us for the next step, the great harvest that comes to those who do not give up. Now imagine for a moment, everything you've done that's good, every time you chose to be kind even without seeing immediate return, it was not in vain. Every action you took, every moment of faith, even when the temptation to give up was strong, God was watching. And the best part? He is going to reward you in a way that will surprise your heart. Believe me, God's timing is perfect. But you know what? Don't stop now. If you feel like this is the moment to change, to strengthen your faith, to move forward with more courage and hope than ever before, don't let the journey end here. If you feel that this message touched something deep inside you, keep going because the best is yet to come. Every step you take towards good, towards faith, is bringing you closer to something great. And if you feel stronger and more inspired right now, I want you to share that in the comments. Right. I will not grow tired of doing good. In due time, I will receive my reward. Let those words come from your heart because they have power. And you know what's even more important? You're not alone. No matter what you're facing, we are all on this journey together. I'm here, and I want you to keep walking this path with me. Let's move forward with faith, courage, and the certainty that God's reward will come. If this message made sense to you, keep following the channel because there's so much more coming your way to help transform your life and strengthen your faith. Together, we're going all in. Now, don't let this energy fade away. If this video made a difference for you, share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. Let's transform many lives, and yours is one of them.